All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. If you're not done so already and like the content, please comment, subscribe, like the video, etc. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com if you're interested in swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, got the system working for now. Hopefully this continues here. Bill Gates' updates couldn't keep me down, but we're going to try and work with it. We're very touch and go on this on the system. I got to do some work on it still. So fingers crossed we don't have any more problems. Anyways, markets up nicely here today. Triple Q's up almost 2.5. SPY down just under 2% here. And they're higher pretty much all day long. And obviously we talked about this yesterday, kind of waiting on Powell to give his testimony. Not his testimony, but he was basically interviewed by Wall Street Journal. And he didn't really say anything too hawkish. He didn't say anything too dovish either. He said he wanted to get inflation under control. The bottom line is, for the most part, that is really just kind of a sideshow. The market made up its mind last week where it wanted to go. And it's basically just using the news to, have an excuse to do what it wants to do already. And you guys know my thesis here. Puts are probably going to get cooked here. And it looks like a lot of that was done here. Even in the morning here, they kind of set us up. We gapped up and then they faded us, which created a very negative feel in the morning. It looked very, kind of bearish here. A lot of things fading off the highs, specifically cloud software. I noticed a lot of these cloud stocks here. If we look at the IGV, really kind of faded pretty sharply off the highs there. You can look at Zoom, Snowflake. So a lot of them faded pretty sharply off the highs. But then if you look at the daily time frame, after recovering, putting in a nice little inside day there, especially on the IGV, little test candle, and possibly a bullish inside bar there. So we'll see what we get into tomorrow. Again, my thesis is there's just so many puts in the system that they're just going to have to roast those. After OPEX, it's a different story. We'll see what we get. Obviously, this market is now in a downtrend. So that's got to be respected, but there is an ebb and flow to the markets. Nothing goes down in a straight line forever. Nothing goes up in a straight line forever. And we'll see what we get here tomorrow. We'll see if maybe we get some follow through. The shorts are trying to push it down here, but it does look like the bulls have control, at least in the short term right now. A lot of the strength today came from Dow Transports. Dow Transports having a nice day, up quite a bit here. Let's take a look at the DJT. So a lot of that rotation. So up 3% there on the DJT. So nice rotation into transports. If we look at the jets, airline stocks doing very well, up 5.6 here. That'll have some resistance up here around $21, but a nice move there for the jets. CP up nicely as well, up to 2.2% there. Let's see, Norfolk Southern having a nice day, up just under 2%. UPS 1.7 and FedEx. Also a nice day, up 5.6. So nice move for FedEx there. Big move there for FedEx. So again, transport's really kind of rotated. But big tech did have a nice day as well. If we look at Apple here, it did fade in the morning like a lot of stocks did as well, but up 2.27%. So your logical area of resistance on Apple is going to be that 155 handle. So you got that 20 moving average down sloping, and that's where your trend line broke down. So that's going to be where you're going to go, and that's where your big red bar is. But a nice move there for Apple. Big volume there on that low morning star reversal. So I like this for a move up here. Amazon, take a look at Amazon today, up 3.5. But if you look on the intraday, it really had a nice surge after Powell's testimony. So big move there for Amazon. So big tech was helping out. Another area that was doing well was financials, which we'll cover in a minute. Financials benefiting from a little bit of a steepened yield curve. So nice move there for fins. Let's look at the spiders here. Daily time frame. So again, you're going to have resistance around this gap fill at 411. Obviously, that's pretty much self-explanatory. And the 20 moving average down sloping does seem to coincide with that. If we look at the NQ, you can really see it. You can see it on the ES as well, but I like the NQ here. You can see you've got an hourly inverse head and shoulders, which is it's trying to trigger right now. Looks like the bears are trying to stop this from triggering. But if it does, you've got to move up to about 13.3 in the cards. So that's the kind of the calculation I did there. So that'll take you right into the middle of this red bar here on the triple Qs. That would be right into this range here. So right around 320, 318 perhaps. And on the spiders, I think it's about 415. So those are kind of your upside targets here if we continue moving higher into the end of the week. Again, remember, billions of dollars of puts are expiring this week, and the call side is totally kind of barren, right? So if we look at there we go, there's the options chain here. And I've been showing you guys this pretty much every day, but I mean, look at the put side here compared to the call side. And this is, I don't know, there's probably been more calls in the system now after today, but 116 at 380, 117 at 390, 100,000 at 400. They love those round numbers. And then you look at the call side, and it's really kind of, there's no big spots here. Some of this, is picking up a little bit today as the market is higher, but the open interest, I mean, it's not even comparable, really. So, that's just typically the way the market works, and that's kind of what we're looking for moving forward. Anyways, let's talk about the Russell here, IWM. So your areas of resistance, Russell having a nice day, by the way. So Russell leading is always a good sign, up 3% here, but obviously you're going to have resistance right about 185, 20 MA, and then this is where you broke down. Right above that is these two pivot lows here, 187. So there's going to be a lot of resistance, 185 to 190 on the Russell. If it can get through that, that would say a lot to me. So, but those are the levels on the Russell, and it's having a nice day. So we'll leave it at that. Dow, Diamond here. Your area is going to be 331. This has been a good area for a while here. There's also a little gap fill there from the 6th of May, so that may be a little bit of resistance as well. But that's kind of your area there, about 330, 331 on the Diamond. Let's flip over and look at the semis. So semis have been strong all day long, up 4.5 here on the SMH, and that was kind of one of the reasons why I thought we would, I said to members, I said, we'll probably sell off a little bit on Powell because the shorts are going to attack this because we're rallying up here. But I expect a higher low to be put in. And one of the reasons I said that is because look at how strong the semis have been all day. Like you dipped below that opening range for one candle and then immediately rejected it. Whereas, the Qs were kind of weak. The spiders were a little weak early on. When I see the semis showing leadership, I usually get kind of bullish. When the semis are weak, that's when I'm leaning towards the bear side. Also, take a look at the semis above that 5-6 gap fill. So they're above this gap fill from 5-6. You look at the triple Qs, we're still well beneath that. Spiders, still well beneath that. So semis are showing some leadership here, which, does bode well for the market moving forward. And again, we've been talking about this falling wedge pattern. Looks like it's finally ready to, hopefully it's finally ready to push out. I mean, this has been a little ridiculous here, but you could also make a case you've kind of got a trend line maybe right here. So that could be a little short-term area of resistance. We'll see what happens here. But a nice move on the semis. And again, when I see that, it's usually a good sign for the market. You will have some resistance at this red bar high. So we'll see what we get here. Again, one day at a time. This market's very treacherous. We're taking everything one day at a time here. We talked about IGV earlier, and I was just telling members about this. I showed you guys this every day, but, here's your all-time high, previous all-time high. Oversold as you can possibly get, and then a beautiful tail candle with good volume on that. And when I see this, I like these patterns. So you come down here, have a reversal, good volume, and now you're starting to flag. I like that. I think that the IGV has some good upside here, at least to 290, maybe 300. So good little move there for cloud software. It's very oversold. It's beaten up, and it's another candidate for. There's just a lot of puts, a lot of put buying in these tech stocks. And, when you get that, when the boat gets too loaded to one side, that's, usually when the boat starts to tip over. We mentioned the Dow transports kind of leading the market higher today. And they were a little bit weaker last week, but now getting a bid. We'll see if it can go up and test this upper band here, which is at about currently sitting just above 15K. You got that red bar in there, so it'll be tough to get through that on the first try. But, they defended that 14,000 level again. So Dow Transport's hanging in there for now, and we'll leave it at that. TNX, so yields still higher, up just over 3% today. Did reclaim the 20 moving average, but I think it did some technical damage. It did do some technical damage when you cut through that 20 moving average the first time. And I mean, if you even take a trend line here, look how steep this is. I mean, this is just such a steep move. But, kind of breaking through that now. So doesn't mean it can't move up a little bit here, but I think you've done some technical damage. I think it's in backing and filling mode, and it's going to have to retreat at least a little bit here moving forward. Now we look at the TYX here. Got a little bit nicer of a pop here. So getting a little bit closer to that 3.2 area, yield curve steepening out just a little bit, and that is helping financials. As you see, XLF, another leading sector today, up 2.5. So good move for fins. And again, your area here, 20 MA short term, 35 was a major breakdown area, but that's going to be a good area there in that range. XBD a little bit on the weaker side, not as strong. Again, 20 MA, here's your red bars here, but nice move for XBD, up 2.5 as well. Let's flip over. Actually, I want to show you KBE also. So nice little trend line here I'm watching here on the KBE. Kind of just coincides with that daily 20 MA. You have a gap fill right in that area, but we'll see if that can break out. If it can, let's see some upside to probably about 50 bucks on the KBE. So a little interesting kind of trend line there that I'm watching now as well. Home builders, nice pop. XHB up 2.5. That's a big move for XHB, and same thing on the ITB. So we'll see if they can give us some kind of pattern here. Had a little bit of a fake breakdown. We'll see if it puts in a lower high. I'm definitely watching these ones here. VNQ, same thing. I love that 93 level. It worked out perfectly. Measured moves are awesome, guys. Definitely learn them if you haven't. But nice move there on the VNQ. And again, it's probably going to want to go up and test that red bar high, maybe the gap fill around 100 bucks. And you have this, pivot here that you broke down. So that'll be some short-term resistance as well. But nice little move there for VNQ today. Let's flip over to energy. So crude, it's funny. We talked about this yesterday. Does it reverse and make a lower high? So as of right now, lower highs are potentially intact here on crude. We'd have to see follow through, but man, this is just such a choppy pattern here. But really, this is all it comes down to at this point is, do we sustain a lower high? If we don't, then I think I give it the upside bias to about 120, 121. After that, though, if it can't, if it does make that lower high, we'll see if it makes a lower low. That's really, at this point, you just got to simplify the chart because of how choppy it is. And, higher highs, lower lows, yes, no. You can just keep it at that. But either way, it's been holding this trend line, so maybe it makes another higher low. Who knows moving forward? But that is the level there on crude. Anyways, XLE, kind of an uneventful day, up 1% here. Again, a lot of the move is coming from fins, coming from DJT and big tech to a certain extent. So a little bit lesser of a move there. But XOP up under 3% and OIH up nicely as well here, up 1.5, stalling out at that 50 moving average. Let's not make too much out of these moves here today. Nat gas, I did some work on this earlier. I think it can get through 850. Not sure if it can get much higher than that, but definitely watching that one closely. But I think 850 is a pretty good level for it. I think it can get through that here in the short term. Dollar index, a nice pullback here. Just like yields, the first big test here is going to be the 20 MA. If you get a daily close below that, I think you've finally done some technical damage. I mean, you could even take a trend line here. And again, look how steep this is. So, if it breaks this, you've probably done some short-term technical damage, and it will go into back-end filling mode. Gold did pull back off that 200 MA, but again, if I give the dollar the downside bias at this point, at least it's closing in on a level here where I think it's going to pull back. And when it does, it's probably a good thing for gold. So we'll continue to watch it. GDX did get a bounce today, finishing off the highs. It filled that gap, though. So we'll see if it puts in maybe kind of a flaggish pattern here. Same thing with gold futures. If it can kind of flag here, then it's got a chance to move up through that 200 to that 1850 area. You've got a nice reversal candle there, so that's a good base to build off of. We'll see what it does here in the next couple of days. Silver getting kind of an oversold bounce here and kind of pulling off the highs. So silver really struggling here. I would avoid it at the moment. It looks like it wants to go lower. Platinum and palladium both really kind of having uneventful days as well. And copper having a decent day, but pulling off the highs. So that 425 area is resistance. Remember, support, boom, comes resistance. So we'll see. Maybe it can flag up a little bit and then push through that. But if not, again, I still got to give it that downside bias to $4, possibly $3.90. All right, flipping over here to Bitcoin here. Market's closing in about 2 minutes, by the way. But flipping over to Bitcoin here, kind of an uneventful bounce. Not really participating as much as the rest of the market. There's Ether, Doge, they're up decently, but nothing crazy. Polkadot, I really get the sense that crypto is very touch and go right now after last week's fireworks. But again, I still like this bottoming tail. I mean, you put in a beautiful reversal candle there on Bitcoin, and it cut through support. Let's just fix this chart here. So you cut through support, got a nice tail candle. I still think it's got a good chance to at least revisit 35, 36,000 here in the short term, but we'll see what kind of pattern it gets. It's been very muted over the last week or so, obviously due to the recent fireworks. All right, so let's flip back over to the spiders. Let's take you into the close here. We're closing in about 19 seconds. All right, flipping over. Yeah, so market's looking at the close at the highs here. The VIX did get a little bit of a bid here on the UVXY over the last hour. So maybe a little bit of a put buying going on or protection buying as the market does move up. Remember the last time they pumped us after Powell talked, there's the closing bell. So market's closing 408.26 on the spiders, up 2%. Remember the last time they pumped us after Powell was on the mic was this day, and then they gapped us down. So maybe a little bit of protection buying going into that. I mean, it's not a lot. I mean, you know, it's just barely off the lows there. The VIX looked like the VIX looks like it's been asleep the last couple of days here. So nice breakdown. It is finishing off the lows. Let's see here. Looks like it's trying to hold that 50 daily 50 MA, and you're holding this reversal level. But we'll watch. If it takes out this pivot, I think the market can go into rally mode. But we'll see what we get out here tomorrow. Again, follow through, follow through, follow through. I feel like I say that every time we get an update. But that's really what it comes down to. But a nice move here. And one thing I do like about the spiders here is you closed above this pivot high. So you closed above 406.41. So you're essentially negating this whole kind of sell-off. I like that. That's a good bullish sign here. Let's take a look at the NQ really quickly, and then I'll let everybody go. And so it looks like we got a close above that pivot high here on an hourly basis and at 4 o'clock. So it does look like this inverse head and shoulders is triggered. It is in play. So that could take you up to 13.3. So potentially some upside here in the markets. Again, all comes down to, do the market makers want to pay out those puts or not? Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.